tournament here today. This is going to be live streamed. So if you could please silence your phones, so the phone away while we're doing this. Just keep in mind that the mic is hot while we're live streaming, so anything that goes on can get picked up and sent on the YouTube channel. So appreciate that. Take the time to put your phones on silent now. So players, you guys can sit down here. Collins, you need to be up here, please. Bagby, have a seat. Come on, bud. So we'll get started here at 4 o'clock. Just want to say thank you for everybody being here today. Another wonderful weather day here in Michigan. It's crazy. All the great weather that we had through the playoff run and the practices we were talking about it the other day. I don't even think we had any rain or any weather to deal with this year, so that was nice. I just want to say thank you for joining us today as we come together to honor Team 2022. Team 2022 will go down as one of the greatest teams in Tecumseh Indian football history. Today is a day to thank and honor everyone who played a role in the 2022 season. Today, our coaches will speak about all of our players, and we'll thank them for providing us the moments that we will all cherish for a very long time. The season was filled with some major accomplishments and a lot of firsts. This year, our first SEC championship since 2013. First undefeated regular season since 1991. We scored the second most points in the history of Tecumseh football. We scored the second most highest points in the state this year. We were 4 points behind Belleville. You all know we struggled a little bit with PAT and 2-point conversions, and had we scored more of those, we probably would have led the state in points. And our first playoff win since 2013. Before we begin speaking about the players, I'd like to thank all the wives and the children of our football staff. Coaching football requires a lot of sacrifice for both the men who coach and the families of the coach. These families spend many hours and times away from each other, and they do so with the hopes that their sacrifices might help a young man become a better student, a better player, and a better person. They did so this year because they love their sons as if they were one of their own. I want to thank all the wives and the children of our staff for their commitment and their sacrifices to this football program. To my wife, Tiffany, thank you for all your support and your encouragement throughout these years. I'm extremely grateful to always have you behind me, on my side, pushing me and supporting me. And on behalf of our players, I want to thank you for providing the players and the families in this community with so many special moments. So Tiffany, I just want to say thank you for everything you did this year. Where are you at? Oh, there she is, back there getting ready to serve food. So thank you, Tiffany. I want to thank all the coaches in our program for all your hard work and efforts this year. No matter what challenges our program faced this year, each of you continue to illustrate your commitment to these young men. Through all the disagreements, we had a few, adversity, challenges, and disappointments, you always place the needs of our young men first, and for that, I'm very grateful for all of you for what you've done this year. Can't thank you guys enough for what you guys accomplished with these guys this year. I want to take a moment to also thank the behind-the-scenes people to make our program run as smoothly as it does. Several years ago, a meeting occurred between myself, Mr. Zajac, Mr. Lewis, and Mr. Hilderly, and we spoke about what it will take to get the football program moving in the right direction. From that meeting came a commitment to ensuring that the young men in this program had all the resources they needed to compete. So to Mr. Hilderly, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Robertero, the school board members, and Mr. Zajac, thank you for providing these young men with the resources required to compete for championships. To Mr. Zajac, our athletic director, we can't thank you enough for the continued support of Indian football and for always helping us fight the battles that lay before us. I appreciate all the time that you allow me to spend in your office with my head in my hands, going crazy, and I'm grateful that you continue to push me to get better. So John, where are you at? Thank you, buddy, for all the stuff that you do for us. To our athletic secretary, Ms. Green, for helping to ensure all the details are taken care of. She does a lot of work behind the scenes, and we can't thank her enough for all that she has done. To our trainers, Jody and Leah, thank you for overseeing our players' health and wellness all year long. We had some injuries this year that we were able to overcome and got our players back on the field right away. So we thank you guys for everything. Big thank you goes out to Scotty and Michael and Tim Tilton for all the help that you guys do on the sidelines all year long. I appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. And Huck, I got it this year to our support staff, Chad Dunnigan, Derek Henning, Brandon Schmidt, Chris Hilton, for all the work that you guys do with the film, the stats. Chris, what you did this year with the stats is remarkable. We can't thank you enough for what you've done. I can't wait to spend, Chris has got all the school records for us going all the way back a few years ago, and I know that we smashed a few of them. I just haven't had the time to look at them this year, so that information will be coming, and that's from all the hard work that Chris Hilton puts in. I don't think people really understand what he does. He does the stats for us, then he'll go back and watch the film 2 or 3 more times to make sure that the stats are correct. So I assure you, the stats that your sons will receive are correct. Huge thank you goes out to Mike and Aaron Caudell from Sunset Barbecue Ridge, or some Sunset Ridge Barbecue, Mark Danley, Mindy Danley, from Danley's Country House, Val Robichar and her husband from Salsaria, Rob and Sherry Laudermilk from JR's Hometown Grill and Pub, Sam and Allison Van Sickle for members, all the meals, all the support that you guys gave us all year long. It just makes this experience really great. So I can't thank you guys enough. Big thanks to the team moms and the dads for all of the work that you guys put in each week, making sure that we had such great meals. We appreciate you guys. And we especially, and Jake, I think you got some here, I especially want to say thank you to our team moms. Lori Shenevy, if you guys want to stand up real quick. Lori Shenevy, Beth Elcock, Trish Tiswell, Darby Bollinger, and Michelle Smear. We can't thank you ladies enough for what you guys do for the program. So a round of applause. Some big shoes to fill along the way. I know Mrs. Bollinger and Ms. Schmier are already going to be ready, excited to take over. I can see Darby right now with Fixer and everything. Yes, so they're going to need help. So juniors and sophomores, moms, if you guys are ready to take that role on, I encourage you guys to reach out to Lori and to Trish and to Beth for that. Last person I need to thank is Ryan Moorhead. Ryan, will you please stand up, buddy? Jeez, I know he's going to hate me for every second of this, but Ryan handles all the behind the scenes stuff. He works with me on a daily basis to complete all the items that help the program run smoothly. Ryan, when I first got here, Jeff Barkway and I had kind of taken over Little League, and then Ryan took it over. And because of that, the program is financially secure right now. Has 100 youth football players, 60 tackle football players, and then all the things that Ryan does on the side for us in the program. He never asks for credit. He just solves problems. So Ryan, we can't thank you enough. Thanks, man. So then I just have a couple announcements to some award winners before we cut everybody loose for dinner. Here's how this is work. Seniors will go, the juniors will go, the sophomores and the freshmen, they'll go eat, and then the families will go as well. But before we release those guys, I just want to announce that there's an academic all-state team that the state puts on. And so you take your top 11 players on your team, you average out that GPA, you send it to the state. This year, our top 11 GPA, we have an average of 3.9 on this team. So those players include Gavin Kennedy, Ryan Mossberg, Aiden Atkin, Jack Laney, Kyle Kilbogger, Rocco Williams, Ashton Platt, Jared Elcock, Vera Dennison, Jeremy Bennett, and Connor Bollinger. You guys can, if you're here, please stand and be recognized. And then we have two seniors. There's an academic all-state team as well that just recognizes seniors for their academic achievements. Those two players will receive academic all-state awards as well. Jared Elcock and Kyle Kilbogger. We always say this every year. It's no secret that when you have great students, you're going to have a great football team, because all all of the attributes that it take to become a great student all connect into the playing field. So gentlemen, thank you guys for what you guys are doing in the classroom. I'm super proud of you. So after we start to eat here, we're going to get through the line as quickly as we possibly can. If you're okay with us talking while you're going through the line and eating, that would kind of speed up the process. I know some of you guys have been here before. We once had a 4.5-hour banquet, and we're never going to try to do that again. But we're waiting for everybody to get through the line, and then we started to talk. So Beth, maybe we can just show the video now. You want to show the video now? Okay. So we have Beth put together a little highlight film. So I think what we'll do is, as people are going through that, we'll put that on so we can view it now. And guys, if you want to watch that, you can turn around and sit in these chairs so you can see the video. So with that, seniors, go ahead and you guys can start to make your way through the line.
No, 2:30. That's when I left. That's when they figured out. I followed them out. Yeah, I guess. Oh, I just want to talk about some of that. And they don't want to find a sub for him. They need to find something for that. Travis goes to this kid something bad. So cute. Thank you. That is so cute.
Where's Coach Romano? Coach Romano.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most important part of this. Normally before team meals, we always have Coach Romano say the prayer. So he'll come up and say the prayer, and then we'll start eating.
Will you bow your heads, please? Gracious Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for this day, Lord. Thank you for the way you've blessed us all year. And just the camaraderie we've had, and we owe it all to you, Lord. We're certainly very thankful that we had no serious injuries this year, and we give you the glory for that. We ask you to bless this food, those who prepared it, and those who are serving it, Lord. In the Bible, it says that ask not, and you do not receive, and ask, and you will receive. And I'm going to ask you today, Lord. We have a very important family member having a rough time right now. Former coach, father, husband, teacher, served in this military to protect us. And you know who I know you know who I'm talking about. I ask you just be with those medical people that are helping him and bring him back to us safely. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
I think it's nuisance, but that's what I think. You come down Honestly, the only thing you can do in that is knowing that if I would have done that, then I would have said that it's not as like that like you guys do that. Yep, I have his girlfriend's now. His girlfriend posted it that I'm just texting his girlfriend, so don't tell him to come back. His girlfriend's behind him. It's just like
That's why I forgot.
because Jack turned his height to the weight, he might just nick her and get out of the his height to weight is because of that. How here work out bigger. But now, no, you don't know that he said I could have warned you, but I wasn't sure. So I never know we did or didn't. But I'm sure we all know out there. But as far as I know, at 11 o'clock. Like 11 o'clock. Like, so fast, doctor said. That's when I took the test just for that. Everything was going good. They didn't realize blood was in his lungs. Mom said, okay. No, the doctor said, the nurse, she said, we're just doing around, we just take the tube out, we're just doing around. We took another x-ray, we like a scan, did my round, and all of a sudden, I got halfway through, and then it was automatically happened so fast. Honestly, I'm not sure how much that is. I know the other guys do. I'm that I have no idea. Well, he does, but you know, if you didn't ask me any question, I wasn't going to ask you. I just wasn't. These guys, he's making crazy. He's going to ask me, how to tell him, but never asked me. He's fine. He's understanding. Yeah, one is to fill the pad, two is yeah, find the pad around the that's right, that's fine, but yeah, things like it's more important. But she had living hours from 6 to 8. So I have to go, she said anytime after 6. Because their hours are 6 to 8, they're very sure that the hours can't have it. We can go like hours where they can have it. The pro medical, yep. Yeah, by then, we can go by us. Yeah, they know how rude it is. Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
All right, we'll keep going here. There's just some things that you guys may or may not know about our season this year. We talked about quite a bit as a staff or as a group, but we kind of call this year our revenge tour a little bit. We kind of stole that from UM, but just some some highlights of the season for us. Obviously, Gull Lake was a big game for us that we really wanted. We played them last year. We felt like we lost that game and let it slip away from us. And so to go out there, I mean, just to talk about the logistics of that day, we moved 100 kids, 200 miles, in 2 separate waves. Played 2 games on the same day, which required a lot of logistics in terms of setting up the field and camera guys and everything. And then to come away with 2 victories that day, just was really kind of showed me, I was just kind of really like, wow, we might have something here to be able to do this, because it's a challenge, and as somebody who can play before or know, to get on a bus for 2 hours. And then be able to get off the bus and play at a high level. I was very impressed with how the group handled that this year. And then obviously going to Pinckney, and a team that we hadn't beaten at all, to be down at halftime. And then when I left the locker room at halftime, these guys just kind of always, the group that's up here, just had it in their minds that they weren't going to lose. And then the way they played that second half, with a lot of guts and a lot of determination to pull that out. And then Adrian Week, you may or may not know, right, I think it was the day before or the day of, our starting safety gets sick, so he can't play. We have to throw a guy in there that hasn't played at all, Job's on one leg. We really were kind of down, to be able to pull that game out in an emotional game. Really spoke to the maturity of this group. And then we go to Jackson, obviously, for their homecoming, and we get a shootout with them and still pull one out. And then the Clarenceville game, we go, and we're down 2 coaches in that game. One of our guys got sick, and then Big Drew Huck over there was in the homecoming court, and so we forced Coach Huck to go to the homecoming game. So we were really kind of down 2 coaches in that game too. But I just thought the grittiness of this group really kind of showed through in that game. To get 2 stops at the end when we needed it, and then score 14 unanswered points to win the game was fantastic. And then, that was right after obviously the biggest game of our lives, our program's career, winning at Chelsea. And I just thought that was a turning point for this group, and I hope for future groups to grow up to learn from. But this group, when they played Chelsea as freshmen, they went up there and they beat Chelsea as freshmen. And I remember sitting, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but I remember sitting and listening to our team meetings in the library on Mondays. And I just said to them, that's a moment that you guys can't forget, because for the first time in a long time, the football team went and beat Chelsea at any level. And so to get over that mental block, that you can go and compete with that group, despite their name, despite the uniform, everything else, I thought was a huge step forward for this group. And then it turned around as when they became seniors. And then even the younger group on Saturday to turn around the next day and handle them as well. So I just think that once we got over that mental hump, things could really roll for us, and it did. And then obviously going 9-0 and really winning that game in convincing fashion against John Glenn was an awesome moment in our season. But we had been talking about all year long the teams that we wanted, and it started to become personal for these guys. But it's so weird. I tell this story all the time. When they would get on the bus, I always ride the bus ride home with the seniors. They would get on the bus, even after the Chelsea game. It was just like, they're just kind of talking to each other, and it's no big deal. I'm expecting it to turn into a party, and I got to tell them to quiet down and relax. But I just think it shows what they were about. They just always expected to win. They never really thought about losing. It just never really came into their vocabulary. And so I hope the younger guys, that's why we brought a lot of you guys up, so you could see and be around these guys and see how they acted and how they went about their business. Because they never expect to lose, and they hate losing more than they like winning. And that's kind of the mentality that you got to take. So I just want to recognize some kids real quick. I didn't get to put these young men in a uniform for the playoff roster, but they were a very valuable part of what we were doing. We started to practice differently week 9, and we started to prepare for how we were going to practice the playoffs. And you guys probably noticed that, wow, practice is really short now. Kids are getting out at 4:45 and 5:15. And the reason that we were able to do that is we totally split our program at that point in time. And I took the defense for an hour and 10 minutes, and Al had the offense for an hour and 10 minutes. And so we could just practice separately. And the only way that we could do that was through the sacrifice of some younger guys that decided to stay on with us, knowing full well that they weren't going to get to play in the games, but decided to do so because we asked them to, and we needed them. And I just think it's an awesome thing, and it really speaks to the us mantra that we always talk about, for them to give up their time and their bodies to go against some of the older guys, but to give us an opportunity to do that, I think really helped us long term. So guys, if you just come on up here, some of the other guys are going to be talked about by position coaches, but I just want to recognize you guys. So when I call your name, please come on up here. All of you guys too are varsity award winners now as well. I'm giving you a varsity letter for the couple weeks that you spent with us, because practice as hard as you did. You deserve that. So Lucas Holman, Robbie Court, Bryce Verdon, Dylan Dietz, Kai McCarty, Raylan Zimmerman, Soren Berkelson, Chase Finley, Christian Sarmiento, Lucas Sanders, and Jake Berry. Come on up here to the front here, please. And so we would have an offensive scout team and a defensive scout team. They would be providing the look that we would see either offensively or defensively each week. And it was an opportunity, like we said before, for them to continue to work on their craft and continue to practice with us. But I just really wanted them to be around us so that they knew what it was about. And they had the taste for getting into the playoffs as well. So guys, can't thank you enough for what you guys did. I really do appreciate, you guys came to practice every single day, worked hard, never complained, had a great attitude, and you're a great group of kids. So I just want to say thank you to you guys very much. And here's your awards. Okay, so as we go through this, the coaches are just going to call you guys up. Just please come to the podium, let your coach speak about you. For those that haven't done this before, the younger guys, we're going to talk about you real briefly, but they're going to spend some time on the seniors because it's a special group. So first guy we're going to bring to the mic is Coach Ray Torres.
Hello. First off, let me say, my wife's not here, but I'm gonna thank her anyways in case she's watching. It's a long 5 months that she puts up with me doing this, I appreciate that. Also, my daughter as well. Thanks, Coach Wilson, again for another year of opportunity. The first person we're talking about is Sword Ward, so come up here, please. Actually did a lot for us this year, both on the B team and the varsity. Stepped in at crucial moments at Carlton Airport, got hurt, did a fine job, and then was fully prepared at Riverside PD going, worked very hard to learn the plays, understand the boards, and appreciate everything he did to be ready. And then, smart I to say, as we go in the next year, be ready, So Landon was our starting left guard. Had a lot of playing time there, obviously, this year. I always took for granted that Landon is a 10th grader. I think I always treated him like a 11th, 12th grader a lot of times. I only lose my stuff like once or twice a year. But once it's with him, you know, how to pull when the other guard's pulling now, though. So we always take I really appreciate everything you did for the team. Same to you. We're having team, right? Stronger. I'm gonna keep track of your guys' weight in program. Jacob Blatchford. So Jacob, after your hiatus, came back to us, and I'm very grateful that he did. I think the team was better off with him here. He did a great job for us. You know, was fully prepared, knowing the boards, knowing the plays. Very appreciative of his work ethic. Pretty much was always there, working hard, and look forward to next year. Ashton Platt. starting right guard. Very smart kid, knows all the plays at any position just about, and came through for us on playing left tackle this year as well as right guard. Very grateful for his work ethic, his knowledge, his effort. I really look forward to what's in store for Ashton for next year. And then also Ashton was named honorable mention offensive guard. His mustache and mullet. Team. Hunter Crick. So I guess this is my 4th year coaching, so I had all these guys as freshmen. Hunter has grown a lot, to be quite honest. Great kid, big work ethic. He's another kid that this year had to play 3 different positions, right guard, left guard, and center. Never complained. Did well at all the positions. Great kid, always upbeat, never down. So these are the kind of kids you definitely need on your team. And I appreciate all you did for us this year, Hunter. Congratulations.
Adjust the mic a little bit here. I want to, like every other coach is going to get up here, I'm going to say the same thing. I want to, number one, send out thanks to my family. Thanks to all the coaches here for the great opportunity to work with these guys. One of the more fun years that I've ever been a part of. And it's all thanks to coaches, families, these guys, most importantly up here. Got a few guys to talk about here. First off, I'm going to bring up James Kirk. I'd say James, he's come a long way in the last couple of years. He had a very consistent year, which wasn't necessarily the case his freshman year, right? So he's making those steps. He's building to get more consistent. He's learning the plays. He's learning the offense. You also played both sides this year too. A little bit of left guard, a little bit of right guard. I think that goes, I think if you went back last year, you wouldn't have been as confident to do that, right? So this year, we're making steps. The big thing for you is going to be the weight room in the offseason and making sure that you stay committed to that and just work your butt off because I think there's a high ceiling for you, all right? Thanks, James. Next up, we have Brian McCutcheon. So Brian played tackle for us this year. He's another kid that last year he played a lot of center as well. And he's thrived at both positions, right? And I think he really had a coming out party this year. And I was super impressed with the way that he learned. He learned the offense. He learned his position, especially switching from center to tackle. That's a big difference for a guy like that. He has really good feet, and you're going to hear every single coach get up here and say the same thing. But now we got to work on, right? You got the agility part of it. You move really well. Now we got to work on that bench press and everything else that comes with it, right? So looking for big things for the next couple of years out of you. Thank you. All right. Next we have junior tackle Logan Gray. Well, Logan is the self-proclaimed leader of the Cave Crew. Something that he dubbed our backup offensive lineman. So, Logan keeps things fun. He's a really good kid. I think, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but a lot of the credit goes to the parents out there. We just had a really, really, really good group of kids up front and a smart group of kids that was very versatile. I feel like most of our kids we could plug in at any position.
and they would excel in some way, shape, or form, right? So that's a credit to a lot of you guys out there too. Logan, I think the big thing for you this offseason, again, is number one, I'm not going to say weight room this time, it's building confidence, right? You're trying to find, understand that you put yourself in really good positions. Now it's continuing that aggression, sometimes controlling that aggression, and going from there, right? But again, like everybody else so far, expecting big things out of you next year. I know it probably wasn't the easiest year for you, right? You probably had loftier goals for yourself and expectations, and that's fine. Just use that as fuel for next year. Expecting a lot of good things out of you. Good job. All right, next we have Max Bledsoe, junior center. All right, playing center on the offensive line is a very difficult position, right? We ask a lot of Bam. He's taken a lot on himself too to learn the position, learn the trade. He's a guy that we ask to make calls at the line, protection changes, identify fronts, and all these other things. And then on top of that, unlike most teams, this kid's pulling every other play too on top of it, right? So I don't know if I've coached a more agile center before, right? You move really well, getting to the second level, getting your hands on the defender. Love the aggression, although sometimes we got to control that too. But definitely it's been a pleasure coaching you, Bam, and big things for next year. And also, all-league center. So congratulations. All right, two more left here. Next up, we have Robert Adams, senior tackle. All right, so Rob's a 2-year starter for us. He's worked hard to learn his position. He's obviously overcame a lot of injuries the last couple of years, but that really didn't deter him at all. Again, he's somebody who's worked really hard for what it is. He is also another one that earned all-league honorable mention honors for us this year, so congratulations, that's good stuff. We've seen a lot of growth in Rob and understanding the game all around, which helped him this year play a lot faster than he had in the past. Be able to play with more aggression, which obviously is an important skill as an offensive lineman. As a staff, we could always rely on Rob to kind of keep things a little more light off the field, to put it politely. But and I started thinking about that. We get on Rob so much about some of that stuff, but also at the same time as a coach, the season's a grind, right? You need kids like Rob to kind of lift you up sometimes, because there's certainly been days where I show up to practice and maybe it wasn't the best day, or we're not having the best week of practice. And Rob's always a guy that you could look to for a little bit of support to lift you up a little bit. And that's a trait that I know I've got on you about sometimes, but I do appreciate it, Rob. So thank you for everything that you've done. It's been an honor to coach you the last 3 years. I'm looking for big things ahead for you. All right, last but not least, we have Jared Alcock, senior offensive tackle. Jared's another lineman that has earned all-league honors as a tackle, so congratulations. So I've been blessed to coach some really awesome people over my years, and I'm very confident in saying that Jared is not only one of the best players that I've coached, but also just one of the most well-rounded individuals that I've had the pleasure to coach. Whether it's in the classroom or on the field, Jared's a guy that you can always count on in a lot of situations. And for that, he's somebody that I could rely on too, almost kind of as an extension of us coaches on the field too. Jared has a great understanding of every single position on the offensive line. I'm fairly certain that I could plug him in at any given moment, at any position up front, and he would just do it. That's how well he knows the game. He's a guy that when he's on the field, he's looking at our signals that we're trying to convey to the players, and his job is only really to look at the boards that we display. But he's got that. He takes that a step further. He looks at our coaches' other signals. He already knows what the play is going to be before Jake's even telling our line that, right? So he's always a guy that's kind of thinking that next level. And I think he takes pride in really understanding that as well. And all these things that I'm saying right now about how great of a leader that he is on the offense, you're gonna hear the same thing echoed by any of our defensive coaches as well. So one of the most well-rounded kids that I've had the pleasure to coach, and it's been a really fun 3 years. And Jared, I appreciate everything that you've done for this program. Thank you.
Also, the coaches, at the end of the year, we get together and select a couple award winners as well from the staff, and all the things that Matt talked about just now about being an extension of the coaching staff and doing all the things behind the scenes. Most people don't know Jared will help Coach Moorhead deliver water and do all these other things behind the scenes that he never ever gets really recognized about. He is also the 2022 winner of the Coaches Award, so Jared, proud of you, man. Coach Rose Pipes.
I want to thank my wife and daughters for letting me be with these guys for 4 years. 4 years I've been with these guys. It's been, okay, I have to keep laughing. All right, I'm going to start with Braylon Zimmerman. Braylon was lucky enough to get brought up and get to hang out with Draymond and the running backs this year. There's something special in him. He listens, and he's always willing to learn and take some crap from people. He's a quick thing. We named him and our other running back Thunder and Lightning, and when we needed Lightning, he came in and he got us a couple yards and ran a couple of touchdowns home. I hope he gets in the weight room, gets a little bit bigger. We talked about that. Needs to eat a couple more dinners. But I see good things in his future. All right, my next one's AJ. I don't know how many times this kid's got me yelled at. I've yelled at him from Coach Romano for the little things he's done, but he's come out there and figured out ways to score touchdowns. He might run a play wrong, bounce it outside when it's supposed to be inside, but he figures it out. AJ had over 2,000 all-purpose yards this year. That's huge as a junior. Over 30 touchdowns. We talked as coaches, after every game, Coach Dolson gives them stickers to put on their helmet. AJ was the one kid that did not have any stickers on his helmet after every game. He gave them to the seniors. That's a truly always us type of kid. It wasn't about him, it was about his team, about what his seniors did, what he could do for his seniors. AJ was voted on by the team as a special teams player of the year. He was clear offensive player of the year, and he was always on.
First off, I'd like to thank all the parents for the kids and great group of kids that we've got, and I was honored for the next 7 kids I get to introduce. And the coaches, I got to thank Coach Dolson first for the opportunity to coach here for the 3rd straight year as I select the podium away from myself. This was my first year being 6-0, my first year being 7-0, first year being 8-0. As Coach Dolson said, it was the first year we experienced a game where me and him didn't get into a fight. So that was awesome for both of us. And thank you for letting me voice my opinion, even if it's quite vociferously sometimes, and listening to it, because it's not always been the case the other places I've been. So I appreciate that, even if I lacked some tact at moments. And other offensive coaches in particular, thanks for everything you've done. Coach Moorhead for the snacks on Sundays especially. Everyone knows me, knows snacks is a big part of what I am. Coach Hessian and Coach Torres, two very calming influences. And Coach Hessian is an O-line coach who shares a lot of the same philosophies as me, the receivers coach, which I think is pretty rare. Coach Torres, like I said, is a very calm guy, and even though he did lose a couple times, but I appreciate what you guys both have done for us. Coach Uzafitis, me and him shared a lot of laughs and a lot of grief with some of the guys we had to deal with, particularly some of the D-team guys who aren't here right now, so thanks for that. And then Coach Romano, the godfather, the guy who kind of helped bring me here. Thanks for everything. I've been lucky enough to coach receivers for Coach Romano for 7 years now, or 8. And he's a great football coach, and I've gotten a lot of undue credit for the success of the receiving groups that I've coached, and it's really a credit to him. And thank you for everything you've done for me. I think that's all the old coaches I wanted to thank, but also Coach Wu, who's over there in the corner, the defensive coach. Coach Wu for 12 straight years, about 120 games or so we figured. I hope he gets to do it again next year. I coach a lot of special teams with him, and he's just a very special person to me, so thank you, Coach Wu. When your brother came to that game, it meant a lot to me. I lost my brother right before the year, so I appreciate what he did for you, and I appreciate what he done for me, so thank you for that. And now that I've started to cry a little bit, I'm gonna change tunes. Awesome year for our team, right? Great year, a lot of success. Didn't end the way we wanted it to. I really believed we were gonna win it all. I never felt that in my life, not even close. I never expected to lose on Friday. And I took it hard. I know a lot of you guys took it hard. I watched you guys take it hard. Families, I saw you guys take it hard, but it should hurt. For you guys that are younger, it should be motivation for next year. Vince Lombardi once said, if you show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser. All right, so it should hurt, but next year we're gonna build off of this. All right, we got an awesome group. I'm really excited to introduce my younger classmen. So my first guy, Jeremy Bennett, wherever you are, if you can come up here. Jeremy came to us to the offensive side very late in the season. Supremely talented athlete, natural pass catcher, good hands, quick, fast, moved up the depth charts lightning quick once he moved to the offensive side of the ball, and that's where he belongs. And he's gonna have a great future for us and makes a big place for us for the next 3 years. That feels awesome for me to say. So thank you, Jeremy, for everything you did and everything that's to come. All right, my next freshman to introduce is Connor Bollinger. So Connor, kind of a quiet kid when he first came out to the football team this fall. I didn't know much about him. I had an opportunity to coach him. He's kind of come out of the shell a little bit. I gave him a hard time once about a horrible lame duck pass he threw towards me, and he's made it a point to make every pass back to me absolutely perfect, precise. I hope you take that with everything you do going forward. He's an awesome football player, natural pass catcher, soft hands. He's going to be a really good football player here. And as he's starting to get to know me a little bit, he's come out of his shell a little bit. So thank you for everything, Connor. Look forward to next year. My next gentleman is Ryan Mossberg. Ryan is a really good athlete, very coachable kid. He's grown up around athletics. He's probably known by his teammates and families around here as a basketball guy first, but he has a great future as a receiver. Again, another guy that just catches the ball very well. He works so hard. He doesn't ever, complain. He barely even talks. It's just an awesome kid to be around. Like if my son is anything like this, which he's not going to be because he's causing havoc somewhere right now, which I don't believe this kid's ever done. But if I could have a kid that's as coachable and as hardworking as this, I would be so proud of myself. So thank you for everything. I can't wait for next year. The next kid is Brian Maddock, young man, I should say. Had the pleasure of coaching Brian for all 3 years that he's been here so far. I've watched him grow up as a football player and as a man. He came into camp this year looking different than he did, completely different than he did last year. He worked his butt off to get where he is. I know he's going to do it again for next year. He makes a big plays for us this year. Had a couple of big catches. And touchdown against Chelsea was awesome. I know you're going to remember that all year. Hoping for a bunch more of those next year when it's your time to shine. You're a great kid. Every time I see this kid, he's smiling. Like the first time I see him when I walk out on the field, he's smiling. If I walk in this cafeteria, when I see him, he walks over me, gives me a hug, shakes my hand, and he's always smiling. So I love coaching you, and I look forward to another year the next year. Diego. Maybe the smartest football player I've coached. Jarrett might give him a run for his money over there. I know you're a side-eye him yet, but as Jarrett knows all 5 offensive linemen's position, this young man, I mean, he's coaching our receivers at every spot. He lines up at all 4 spots, takes reps there. He's starting games for us. He recovered like 3 fumbles the first game of the year and saved our butt. He makes big catches on 3rd downs, and he never complains. He's always happy, even when people are spilling 8 bags of popcorn in his car. He's an awesome kid. Another kid I'd be proud of, a crazy young man like this. It's hard for me to believe he's got another year of football because I've been coaching him for 3 years, but man, next year's going to be a fun year, and he's going to make some huge plays for us. So thank you for everything. Okay, that's my underclassmen, and it's a good group. They're going to be a fun group to coach next year, and there's going to be a lot of offensive plays made and highlights from that group. But my last 2 guys, my seniors, 2 awesome kids. My first one is Ryder Zajac. So Ryder had a shoulder injury that kept him off the field last year. Coached him a little bit as a sophomore at the end of the year at the varsity level. I knew there was going to be big things for him to come on the football field. Everyone here knows him probably as a basketball guy first. But he's got an opportunity to play football on Saturdays next fall, and I hope he does because I want to see him do it. He's just an awesome kid, a humble kid, talented yet humble. Big, makes me feel little. I don't really feel that little. He's big, but yet he's kind, he's gentle. He takes hard coaching very well. I mean, his parents are involved in athletics forever, so that it makes sense. But I can tell Ryder one thing, and I see him implement it the next play. And as a coach, it's awesome to see that instant response from an athlete. He's going to go really, really far, whichever sport or sports he chooses at the next level. I've known of him since I was a younger man. When he was just a baby, my good friend is his Uncle Brad, and he spoke about him and how good of a kid and how good of an athlete he was, and everything he said was true. And I'm just very thankful for the opportunity to coach you. I hope I get to watch you play some basketball this fall and some football and basketball next year, wherever you go. And I'm excited to announce Ryder as our 2022 Most Improved Player of the Year. Deserved it, and the stats, I could list them here and all that, but I mean, the numbers, it doesn't mean as much as just knowing what a good kid he is, what a good teammate he is, and how easy of a player he was to coach. So thank you for everything, Ryder. I love you. All right, my last guy over here. Glad I didn't wear my pink shirt because I'm glad we're not matching today, because if there's a kid that reminds me of myself more than anyone, it's Gavin. Oh. That's why he reminds me of me. Gavin, as you can tell, is kind of goofing around sometimes. He's been known to goof around, have a good time. I was quite like that as a player. I was never a rah-rah guy. He's not either. He's not going to run his face into the wall before the game to get himself pumped up. He's usually goofing around. And I remember once as a sophomore, when I was coaching defense, it was early in the year, he was goofing around, and I snapped on him, which I can do sometimes. I snapped, I yelled, "Gavin, focus up," and he puckered up a little bit, got a little nervous, and it affected him, you know. I like my guys to be a little agitated, so going forward, like to mess with him a little bit, and tried to hurt me a bunch of times yelling, "Hey, focus up, Six, focus up, Gavin." But it made it a point from that point forward to only say that when he actually was focused. So mess with him a little bit. And I always made sure to do it within earshot of Coach Dolson, so that he was like, "Oh, come on, you can't do that. You can't let Coach Dolson think I'm not paying attention." And it really wear out. Eventually, Coach Dolson came in on a joke this year at some point, but I love messing with this kid. He made so many great plays for us over the last 3 years. I mean, I remember 100-yard pick six your sophomore year against Jackson, like 75 catches in a row against Chelsea this year, just throwing the bubble every time. But the thing that I'll remember about him as a football player more than anything is who he became as a blocker on the perimeter. He might have been the best blocking receiver I've ever coached. I've coached a lot of pretty good ones. And I think pound for pound, he's the best blocker maybe on the football team. And no offense to you, old linemen, some of you are fatter, so that the ratio. He's not fat, so pound for pound, it works out. Right? But he absolutely is ferocious on the edge of this year. And AJ and some of the other receivers have a bunch of touchdowns just thanks because of this guy. I mean, he blocked on kick returns. All 3 of those kick returns AJ had this year, he made huge blocks. I mean, all of these long runs, you can see Six on the perimeter just burying guys. And I love seeing that. That's not anything I did. That's all about what's in there and him wanting to be. Although I did say that a lot, when these guys make one hand catch, I'd like to say, hey, that's coaching right there. So really, when a guy does that on the edge and he blocks like that, it's about who the competitor is. And Gavin's a great competitor. I've been honored to coach him for 3 years. He's just an awesome young man. He is also all-league honorable mention on offense. But I'll say this, I don't know that there's a better all-around receiver in our entire league. That honorable mention in my book, I mean, he's the best receiver in our league, and I know he's going to be playing Saturdays somewhere next year, and I can't wait to go watch him play there. So thank you. I am going to introduce the next speaker because that's how these things work. So, doesn't really need an introduction, but the man who recruited me here, the Godfather himself, the offensive coordinator, and our quarterbacks coach, Cal Romano.
Thanks, Coach Barry. I don't know where we get this Godfather stuff. What a ride, huh? Great year. You already met a big reason why. Great staff, great athletes. And, I don't know. I'd like to thank my wife and Coach Dolson and everybody for this opportunity. I was thinking about Friday night and just want something that stuck to me that Coach talked to you guys about when he huddled you up. He told you younger guys look in the eyes of the seniors and remember what you see and do something about it, because that's what these seniors did in the offseason. And I think every one of them will tell you that they're bigger, faster, and stronger than they were 2 years ago. So keep that in mind. It's so easy to loaf in the weight room. You got one guy. It's not, you can't do it on the practice field because you got a coach and about 5, 6 guys. So one guy in there with 30 different people, it's easy to hide, it's easy to take a break, it's easy to do all the wrong things. But it's hard to give your best effort every day. And as talented as everybody talks about that we are, and we are, it's not good enough. That's not good enough. You gotta give your best effort every day. That's what I took from Friday. What I took from yesterday was probably what a lot of you guys did. I don't know how many times you just sat there and your mind wandered like mine did. Went over this play, went over that play. Wish I had this play back. Wish I had that play back. I made mistakes too. You know, it's part of the game. And then there's today, and today's a celebration. All those things you saw on the highlight thing there and all of that, that's what we're here for. Friday's gone. Right now, you're SEC white champs, you're 10-1, and you did something that's very hard to do, and you should be proud of yourself. First guy I got, freshman. I don't know what the heck he is. He kicks, he runs tailback for us, he plays some quarterback, he plays some safety. He drives me nuts with baseball because we argue about the Yankees all the time. He's going to be an exciting young man in a couple of years when you watch him play because he's got some tools. Rocco Williams. He had to wear his Tiger shirt. Come on. They want to leave. They want to All right, the next young guy I got the pleasure of working with got better every week. Really impressed me in the developmental games with the way he can run the ball. Rock, what do you think? I'm not talking about you the whole time. But this young man got a lot better. If we had a younger most improved award, he'd probably get it. Worked on his game, worked on his craft. Still got some kinks to work out throwing the ball, but I think we'll get that done. But really ran the ball very, very well, and ran the team very well. Ben Hammond. I'm gonna do this now. I've done this for 47 years. Had a quarterback that started at Michigan. Had a quarterback, then he transferred, started at Arizona State. Had a quarterback that started in D2. Had a quarterback in the Mid-Am. I've had some darn good ones. One of the best ones who played baseball in college. I had another one that started at Eastern Michigan University as an outfielder. We had some tremendous quarterbacks, really. My lawyer was my quarterback, and I need him sometimes too. If I had to go to war tomorrow, this is the guy I want to fuck so. He's a warrior. Got all these offensive, records and all that crap. And here's the glue right here. Not me. All the first team quarterback. He's our co-MVP on offense.
Sure, the county thing will come out. If he's not the county player of the year, you're gonna see the Godfather down at the television. Just an unbelievable kid. Great young man. Give me a mistake. Coach Barquet's next.
So I'd like to start off by thanking my wife for allowing me to be away as much as we are. I want to thank Greg for allowing me the opportunity to be around this great group of young men and coaching staff that we have here. They're just, everybody here is just fun to be around. First guy I want to talk about today is sophomore Aiden Magnus. Come on up. I've been lucky enough to coach Aiden since third grade. Great kid on the field, great kid in the classroom. Probably one of the nicest kids you'll ever meet. We see great things for Aiden. He's got some big shoes filled, filling in behind Drayton on the defensive line. But we're gonna see what he does the next 2 years. Getting in the weight room, we got to, I think Tay told him he's got to put on about another 20, 30 pounds. So we can start reaching some heavy defensive line for us. So stay back. Talk about is junior Aaron Norton. It's been a pleasure coaching Aaron for the last 2 years. I know he's coming off of knee surgery from last year during wrestling season. Seeing great improvement in everything that Aaron's doing for us. Hoping for big things next year. Like I said, we got a lot of spots to fill on the defensive line. The great thing about Aaron and all of our defensive linemen I'm going to talk about here today is these guys took it upon, well, I shouldn't say took it upon themselves. We've thrown them into multiple roles on the defensive line when we needed them. He's learned the play, so he knows from nose to tackle what he needed to do anytime that we called upon him to play those positions for us. So we're looking for big things out of next year. Our next one is Ray. I think I said it last year too, Ray's our biggest cheerleader. I always hear him in the back. He's always screaming in your ear. But he's the one kid that is always ready to go on the sideline. When you're yelling for somebody that you need somebody on the field, someone's helmet gets ripped off, I guarantee you Ray's gonna be running onto the field. You might have to grab him and reel him back in every once in a while, but he is another kid, like I said, with Aaron. He was that kid that we asked to play multiple positions on the defensive line, and he learned every single one of them. Same with all these guys, and you hear us keep talking about it, is continuing to get in the weight room, getting bigger, faster, and stronger. And the same thing with you. We're going to expect big things out of you next year because we got some shoes to fill. Senior Peyton Simmons. Peyton, again, another thing, the one thing that stuck out with me with Peyton this year, at the beginning of the year, obviously he got hurt. Was it Jack? Ipsy, yes. What was it? New Boston Huron. We had our scrimmage. We get out there. He'd been strictly, I believe we started you out working at nose, working with there. He was getting some reps at nose during New Boston Huron, and then we needed someone to fill in at defensive end to give some of our guys a break. And he did not hesitate to take it upon himself and just jump out there. He knew the plays. He knew what he needed to do when we made the calls right for him. He got out there and he started making plays for us right away. Our defensive line and our offensive line couldn't be as good as they were without guys like Peyton and Aaron and Ray and Aiden, because they're out there grinding with our offensive line every day, making them better. Okay, it's you guys on that defensive line. We I don't like to call them scout team guys, but you guys were out there making them better every day, beating up on them and making sure that they were giving their 100% out there. And that was the thing that I loved about Peyton was when it came down to, as a senior, he wanted to know, and I think he talked to myself, and I think he talked to Coach Huck at one time, and it just happened to be right before the FC game. It was, what can I do to make myself better? What can I do to make myself better to get on the field and get some more playing time? And unfortunately, when that time came for him in FC, it was only a couple plays in, he tears his ACL. Unfortunately, we had to go that way, but it's been a pleasure coaching us for the last 2 years. I really liked it. Being said,
I'd like to thank my wife Bridget, and my son, and my other son Cameron, for allowing me time to do this. Obviously, it takes a lot of oh God, you're watching film again tonight. Like, are we gonna do anything else? Of course not. It's football season. But I'd like to thank Greg for giving me a shot to coach the inside linebackers this year. That's one of my passions. I love it. This year, I started out down on the field, which is great and all, but then I ended up getting moved up to the box, which that's all right too, I guess. But I love to be on the field, but obviously I know my place is up there, so it is what it is. Helping with the defense. I'm going to start out with my linebackers. Sophomore Romero Perez. Romero and I had a conversation before the season this year, just knowing that I was short linebacker wise. I really needed him to step up this year and be way more physical than he was, because he used to be a little soft. But this year he definitely made some strides. You can see the weight room is working for him. He's got to stay in there for sure. It's future's bright, but you came a long way this year, and I'm proud. All right. Braden Kahn. Braden's been one of my studs since he was little. Well, he's still little. Yeah. He was really one of my first linebackers. I really learned how to read guards coming from when we were young, and it's made him a stud. He's physical, he tackles well. He's got that wrestler mentality, and it's fun to watch him play. But he's definitely gonna be fighting for playing time next year, and hopefully gets weight room hard and maybe grow an inch. But we'll see what happens. But Brandon. Jack this season, got moved to linebacker. I don't believe he'd ever even played linebacker before, maybe when he was young. And obviously there's a lot of learning to do. He's a very smart kid, and he picked it up. It's when you haven't been reading guards for years, it takes time, and you really started to pick it up. I always, we can't have false steps, because you pause for a second, you go to his side, and then, play can go the other way. But by the end of the year, he really started picking that up. He's a big, strong, physical kid. He's definitely going to be fighting for that starting spot as well next year. That's going to be great. I can't wait. What can I say? Ryan Berry is pound for pound, in my opinion, one of the toughest kids on the team. He was honorable mention all league this year. He's second in tackles, I think, with 82 or 83 this season. We didn't really know what we were going to get out of him. We didn't know who was going to play that will position. We had it pretty much figured out that Trace was probably going to be that Mike spot. Barry stepped up and really filled that role. He was probably our best blitzer. He's very elusive, plays downhill, ain't afraid to hit. It's fun to watch, but definitely moving into that Mike spot, get in the weight room. Like to see probably 15 pounds on you. Great. pass it up to senior Trace. Trace is, he really became a dog this year. Last year it was, you know, we started the first couple games and, you know, he got replaced for a bit, fought back, you know, got back into that starting spot. You know, this year he came back, probably put on 15 pounds of muscle and a new attitude to go with it. And it was fun to watch. You could just see it carry him through everything. Hardest hitter on this team. He'd lay dudes out. I love watching him crossing routes come across and he just lay them out. Sorry, freshmen and sophomores for it's all part of the game. You'll get there. But Trace led our team in tackles. He was all county linebacker. All league, sorry. All league. We'll see about county. He really had a heck of a season. My opinion, he was most improved from last year to this year. There's just so much I could say. I'm so proud of you, but he had a heck of a season. I love you. I'm not sure who's next.
I'll go track. A couple thank yous that I need to get out of the way. The first one goes to guy sitting over there, Coach Dolson. Another one to our athletic director, John Zajac. Those two guys they took a chance on me and they've given me more opportunities than I could ever think of to be here at Tecumseh. And so thank you to those two from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you guys. Next one to the coaching staff, the guys over here that you all dealt with all year. They dealt with me. And so thank you guys for doing that each and every day. I know I can be high maintenance, so I appreciate you. And I've learned so much from you guys. So I truly can't express how grateful I am for you guys. The next one is you parents, we'll go you parents. You've enabled your sons to give us an opportunity of a lifetime as a coaching staff. And you've enabled them to continuously learn and be great student athletes. So thank you to your parents and all the food and everything that you've done for us this year. The next one is the kids, all the guys that I dealt with, but specifically these seniors sitting behind me. It's emotional for me too, because I look at all you guys and you were the first group of young men as soon as I walked through the doors here at Tecumseh to kind of welcome me. And before I knew anybody else in this room, I knew you guys. And I knew you guys were going to be very, very, very special, because when I came to start coaching you and we'd win games by 20, 25 points, and I would turn around the next day and set you guys on the line because it wasn't good enough, or make you bear crawl around the track. There was no complaints. Some of you guys showed up to games with blisters on your hand, no complaints. And that was the point in time that I knew this senior group was going to be very, very, very special. And you parents can all attest to that. It was very special. And so you guys will always hold special place in my heart. And my door is always open and my phone's always on. The last thank you I have is to my wife, Haley. I know she's watching at home. We went through planning a wedding, dealing with the wedding, missing the Chelsea game for our honeymoon, and she dealt with me there while I'm screaming at a computer screen with a lot of people around watching us beat Chelsea. So she stuck with me through all of it. She's always there at the end of the night to give me a big hug, and she's the one that she listens to me for all my complaints when I get home too as well. So Haley, if you're watching, thank you so much. I love you. So we'll dig into it. Pretty fun year this year. I get to introduce a couple of guys that were a part of what we call DBU. If you don't know what it is, it's Defensive Back University. We really embraced it as a group, and I think we did a pretty good job of looking back at the stats at the end of the year. So our defensive back group, they really did a good job. Again, it was a group that I pressed hard every day. I blew up on. and I love. So, first guy up here is going to be a freshman that we pulled up at the end of the year, Brandon Zachary. If you guys ever watch a JV game and you've seen a blur of a jersey, a Tecumseh jersey flying around on the field, it's probably this kid. He is literally like a human torpedo, and all year long, I kept telling our coaching staff, like, this kid's got it. Like, he's so talented, he's super talented, he's got it. And so at the end of the year, he got the opportunity to come with us, and he made the most of it. He was a guy that I could trust, even as a freshman, to be able to throw out there on special teams or in the game situation at any point in time, just because I knew he was going to make the right plays and he was going to fly all over the field. And so it's something where if Brady can stick in the weight room and he gains 10, 15 pounds, puts on muscle, kind of, just work hard like these seniors did, and it'll all pay off in the long run, because I'm super excited with the athletic ability that you have for the upcoming next 3 years. So, Brady Zachary. Next to my sophomores, Cooper Banquet. Cooper is he's basically the sophomore version of Brady Zachary. He's a kid that he's flying all around the football field, and we moved him. My proudest moment of Cooper this year is when we moved him to safety, and he had a heck of a game. I mean, it was, you've seen him flying downfield, make a play, sticking his face into every single tackle, taking on blockers, and that's the type of kid that he is, and that's the type of attitude that he has. And so I'm super excited that Cooper was able to come with me this year. I know it might not have been what he wanted to do, but I was excited to have him, and he always brings a smile to my face. I know the shoulder, he had a little bit of a shoulder issue late in the season. It hindered him a little bit, and again, just another kid who didn't complain. He fought through it. He threw on a shoulder strap, said, "Hey, let's go to work." And so that's just the type of kid that Cooper is, and I'm super excited that we're gonna have a couple more years of this young man, because I think he's gonna be a stud in the future. So, Cooper Banquet. Next up is Tyler Clements. All right. Tyler is, I was really hard on Tyler this year. Probably harder than even his dad was sometimes. And again, that's a testament to the parents that we have around here that allow us to do that to your sons and daughter that was in the room. And so Tyler was a heck of a safety for us this year. Not a lot of guys that can play defensive back position and rack up 19 tackles like he did against P&E. So it's something that it was very, very special for him to do. Again, another kid who, towards the end of the year, kind of went through some bumps and bruises, and I think it made him hesitate just a little bit, just like it would all of us in this room if we got hurt. And there was no fear. It's always he's strapped up and he went to work and he joined us as brothers and went to war on every Friday night. And again, it's a testament to the type of kid that he is. He's super, super athletic. I'm going to keep fighting for him to be on defense next year because we need him. I don't know how it's going to go over too well, but because he's a great athlete on offense too. So, but Tyler Clements, super excited to have him for the next couple of years. Next up is junior Max Stanley. I've had a few banquets with Max, and I always say the same thing: is he's one of my favorite kids. He's so unselfish and is willing to do anything. And again, it's a testament to the young man he was. At the beginning of the year, we kind of talked about as a coaching staff, we didn't know where Max was exactly going to see the field. If it was going to be a safety or if it was going to be a corner. And then we're going through camp and we're going through scrimmages, and we're like, who is this kid showing up on film? And every time it was Max Stanley. He just kept showing up. He kept showing up. He kept showing up. And it was something that he did in games too. And, we challenged him a lot of times, come down in the run game, stay over the top. He had to guard a kid who was 6'5" one game and stay over the top, and he did a great job doing it. I'm really looking forward to Max of spending another year in the weight room. I've seen how far his body has come in this past year, and I can only imagine what it's going to be
in a year from now, we're in this exact same situation because he can be a heck of a corner for me next year, and I definitely look forward to it. So the pass game stuff's already there. We get a little bit more muscle on you and get you flying down the run game and being fearless and confident in yourself and be one heck of a ball player next year for us. So, Matt Stanley. Next up, my seniors, Grant Mossberg. Grant was a very pleasant surprise for us this year. A lot of you guys know him as a really good basketball player. He decided he's going to play football this year, and man, I was like, dude, where were you last year? Because he played hard, and he's a hard-nosed kid. And there was a couple times where we watched film, and he got big hit of the year the one time, or big hit of the week for just laying kids out. And again, it was something. Grant was always one to step up when we needed him to. Whether it was special teams, we need somebody on kickoff. If we had to move Gav to safety or something like that happened, Grant was the one to step up. And it was a very, very pleasant surprise to see him. He's worked hard in the weight room, and he became confident in his body. And that was the most important thing that he did. And he was fearless. I mean, he took guys at their knees all year long, and it was just absolutely fearless. And I think it paid off because I don't know if you know or not, but it earned you all league honorable mention for defense this year. So he's used to the basketball where it's not the football ones, but it just shows the type of athlete that he is, the type of kid that he is, and how hard that he really wants to work. So Grant Mossberg. My last one, senior Cal Kilburg. Kyle knows I can sit up here and talk about him for a really long time. He is one of the smartest kids I've ever met in my entire life, and seriously, I feel like he knows everything. He's almost too smart because he asks me 255 questions every Friday night. But I like that personally. I would rather have a kid come ask me questions and make sure he's doing it right, and that was the type of kid Kyle did. He's a great young man. He makes sure everything is perfect, and he's doing everything the right way. And he was a leader. That was the biggest thing is we kind of needed a leader defensively for that secondary group, and he always stepped up. I mean, he was putting guys in the right alignment. He was checking the coverages before us as a coaching staff was able to check to him. And he was this guy that he was almost a coach on the field. That's always what we talk about, an extension of us coaches. And Kyle was that on the field. And Kyle was one of the freshmen that I coached my first year here for basketball, so I kind of knew that's what he was going to grow into. Became very confident in his body, was able to take on big guards and still make tackles. And like I said, I could sit up here all day and tell you the memories I have of this young man. But just know that if there's a guy in this room that's going to be very, very, very successful, it's going to be Kyle Kilbarg. I'm super proud of him, and I thank you for everything that you've done this year. Thank you again. Up next is one of the coaches I hold dear to my heart because he coached me in high school, and that's Coach Wu.
This is where we got help travel along sometimes because sometimes he forgets things, but Gavin Sheneby was also nominated as All-League first team defensive back as well. So Gavin, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Kyle, stand up. Sometimes you make notes on guys' things and you just don't read them the right way. So Kyle was All-League honorable mention as well as defensive back. So congratulations, DBU.
Guys call me Coach Wu. It's nice to see everybody here. I want to thank the community for their support. This is a special group of kids. I've been coaching for 53 years. Just finished my 53rd year. Been part of over 20 championship football teams. This team had the characteristics of every one of them. smart kids, dedicated, hard workers, always put we before me. I can't thank them enough for competing the way they did. 53 years, never been part of an undefeated season until this year. Oh, it's really quite an accomplishment, and one you really don't think about. It doesn't come along too often, but this is a special group, led by a special group of people right up here, our senior class. These guys are awesome, and I think they deserve another round of applause from you guys. I'd like to thank my wife, Amy. I'm not sure what she thought when she married me. We haven't been married that long. I don't think she realized what it was like to be married to a football coach. But I wasn't sure what it was like to be married to a band director. She was the band director of the high school that I coached at. Anyways, I'd like to thank her very much for what she's done for me. I have 6 players that I'd like to introduce to you. 3 underclassmen. First of all, Tyler Robeson. Tyler was our punter, and he was our leading tackler on our kickoff team until unfortunately he got hurt. But Tyler was a great competitor. He did a great job for us, and we need to get him healthy again. Tyler. Next is Riley Williams. When Tyler got hurt, Riley became our punter and did a great job for us. He also was an outside linebacker, and he was relentless in what he did. A good athlete, all around, a great competitor. Congratulations, Riley. Connor Adamski. Really important part of our football team. In fact, I don't know when it was several weeks ago, we had a conversation with each other, and I wanted him to know how important he was to our football team. Showed up every day, worked hard. I think there's a lot to be said for that. Congratulations, Connor. I have 3 seniors, and I feel like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz because I've known all 3 of these guys since I came here. I coached all of them, and we've become very close, and I enjoy going to practice. Number 1, I call him the stork because he reminded me of the guy who played for the Oakland Raiders, Ted Hendricks. Brendan, and I'm not sure a lot of people realize the difficulty he played with. Shoulder problems, he had harnesses on. It was halfway through the first quarter before he had all his equipment sits down and ready to go. But he came, he played hard every day, he worked hard, he was eager to learn, and I think he did a great job his senior year, and it was a pleasure to coach. Our next senior is Owen Cisco. Owen was very, very competitive. Intercepted a pass, he had several sacks, quarterback hurries, and a lot of times he was going against offensive tackles. And as you can see, that was a challenge. But his competitiveness really helped him. And he was just fun to watch play. And I enjoyed being around him all the time. And I can't thank him enough for what he's done. Thank you. Oh. The last senior is Joe Bedscoter. you don't need me to tell you that he's a good athlete. This kid's a good athlete. On offense, he had like 40 receptions for over 700 yards, 7 TDs, 4 extra points, averaged 17 yards a catch. On defense, he did all sorts of great things. And I'll tell you what, I don't know why I did this. I was grading films. Friday night, when I came home, I watched our game Friday night. I'm grading films. I'm wondering, what the heck are you doing that for? But I wanted to see how our kids performed. And I'm going to tell you something. I know the score didn't work out the way we did, but we had some kids that really laid it on the line Friday night. And he's one of them. And he should be commended for what he's done. He's a one heck of an athlete. And I look forward to seeing what he's going to do. He was also recognized as first team all-league on defense. And I don't know why he weren't first team offense too, but that's not my decision. But you did a great job, Joe. Thank you. I just want to say this at the end. I always write the players letters. But remember this, being a part of a team in pursuit of something you can never achieve on your own with people you love is one of the greatest things in life. You will never forget this football season, ever. Cherish it. You guys that are younger, aspire to do it again. This has been a great season. Congratulations to everybody. Thank you.
All right, to start, I have a few people I'd like to thank. Coach Dolson took it to the first page of thank you, so I'll get to the second page of people I wrote down. I'd like to thank my wife Erica and my son Andrew for loving me and allowing me to do this. Really appreciate you always being there for me, allowing me to be gone, allowing me to do something that I'm passionate about, and I really appreciate the time that you allow me to be away from home. I want to thank the Dolsons, all of them collectively, Greg, Tiffany, Reese, and Jake, for kind of being a second family during the season, being away from home a lot, spend a lot of time with them, and they're always wonderful to me, whether it's during school or outside of school. They've been amazing all the time. Greg, I want to thank you for loving me like a brother. Allowing me to miss a game at the Clarenceville game. It's the first game that I've missed in 12 years coaching here. But he knew that it was important for me to be with my son Andrew, to walk him across the field at homecoming, even though he does go to Adrian. It was a wonderful thing that, I'll never forget that moment to be able to walk with him. But also in the back of my head, I knew that I was there because I had a friend, a brother, that loved me enough to say, hey, this is where you need to be on Friday night. You don't need to be with us, you need to be with your family. And he was right, that's where I needed to be. And so I really appreciate it. I love him for that. Thank you. I want to thank the rest of the coaches for their time and their commitment and the time that they've spent with me and helping me along the way to learn from all these coaches every single year something new. And we never stop learning from each other. And just very appreciative to everything that they helped us accomplish throughout this entire season. Special thanks to Coach Moorhead for helping with logistics and all the coaches really this year. It takes a lot to get everybody on the road. We had 6 away games this year, so packing up the trailer and all the equipment that goes along with it, it takes a lot of time. And so I really appreciate all their help, no matter how much they hated doing it. And for that tunnel on Friday nights, that makes all the difference today. So I appreciate that. I know how much you love that. I want to thank Brendan Maddock. I know that Coach Olson's going to talk about you, but Brendan filmed all year for us in practices. Had to kind of step away from the game because of an injury, but said, you know what, he could have just walked away and said, you know what, I can't play anymore. I'm just walking away. I'm not going to be a part of this team. But he was out there every day filming, taking grief from me when he was cutting the plays off too soon or starting too late or whatever happened. But
I really appreciate the time that you put in there for that. A couple players I have to talk about. First player, junior number 56, Eli Bagby. Eli was a great addition to our defensive line this year. He always gave 100%. He got banged up a little bit in the middle of the season, so missed a few weeks there and a few games, but came back at the end of the season. Continued to improve each practice, whether it was on scout team or he was getting reps in the game. And I think he knows this, that got to continue to work hard in the weight room, continue to get better at your craft of the defensive line. We're losing a lot of people on the defensive line. We're going to need a leader on the defensive line. I'm really hoping that can be you next year. So we're expecting big things on you next year. Next, the seniors, number 44, Jacob Walters. Jacob's a hard worker. He's always willing to do whatever we needed him to do. And he came to practice with a positive attitude and a smile on his face every single day, no matter what the situation brought. He was willing to jump in and take scout team reps on defense. He was willing to take scout team reps on offense when he was giving us a look when we were an individual down in north end zone. So he played some offense there and gave us some looks. Whether it was jumping out on special teams in practice and giving the special teams a look. And it didn't matter what the result was on Friday night as far as playing time. He was always positive. He was always there because he was a team first kind of kid. And he knew that he was making his teammates better, and what he was doing was beneficial to the team. And so, like I said, always a smile on his face, always a great attitude, always worked hard, and I know that those traits will take him far. And thank you for everything you contributed to Tecumseh football. Next senior, number 76, Garrett Wade. So Garrett's worked hard, very hard, on and off the field to be able to play football this year. His dedication in the classroom over the last year or so, and his dedication on the football field paid off in both aspects. Was able to be a part of this team this year, was able to be contributing to part of this team because of how hard he's worked. He made huge strides on the defensive line over the course of the season. Probably one of the strongest kids we have. Could really get off the ball, get into the offensive line, and create some challenges for the offensive line. He worked extremely hard. Like I said, he even earned a starting spot there in week 11. So to go from where he started off of the year to ending, the last game of the season, be in the starting lineup and contribute for us, and have offenses have to, try to come up with schemes to block around you because of the way that you played, it is very impressive. So I thank you for never giving up, for being a part of this team, and I hope that the lessons that you learned in football will continue to carry through in your life. So thank you. Next senior, number 92, Colton Caudill. So Colton stepped away from football for a few years, and he decided to come back for his senior year. And I think I'm thankful, and this team is thankful for the fact that he decided to come back to football, because boy, did he make a huge impact on this team and the successes that we had over the years. Not to say that sometimes it wasn't tough, because coming back to a sport that you've been away from for a couple of years is a tough transition. But he's the type of person who can handle that. He's the type of person who met those challenges head on, continued to work hard, even though there was days where he left frustrated. He still came back the next day. He still continued to get better each and every day and continued to work on what he needed to work on. He's a great young man. He does everything right on and off the field. Maybe not everything right on and off the field, but he works extremely hard on and off the field. I'm proud of everything that he's done. I know he's going to do great in swimming coming up in the next season. I enjoyed watching his confidence grow over the year. I knew at the beginning of the year,
maybe a little unsure of what he was doing, but by the end of the year, extremely confident in what he was doing, contributed greatly to the success that we have. I have no doubt that, that confidence and that ability will continue to grow, and he'll do great things in life. Colton was also recognized as All-League SEC White Honorable Mention Defense. All right, last senior, number 27, Drayden Langston. So Drayden started off his career as a linebacker and a running back. And early last season, at some point, we were talking about different schemes and different people that we needed to plug into positions. And we were thinking about who can we plug in at the nose? We need somebody who's athletic, who's going to be nonstop, who's going to be strong, who's going to be able to get off the ball and give centers a hard time. And we asked Drayden if that was something that he thought he could do. And not only did he step into that position, but he stepped up in that position. Drayden came into a position that is not easy to play, let alone come into it halfway through your high school career and play. And not only did a good job, did an exceptional job. Caused havoc for opposing offenses week in and week out. I know just from talking to other coaches, they spent time game planning. How are we going to block the nose? He's so quick getting off the ball. He's going to stay low. His work ethic is second to none. His motor is second to none. Although I can remember back just thinking of some of the scenarios early in the season. It's between plays. We look out there, you're on the knee, right over top of the ball. We're like, is Drayden tired? We better get him out. We took him out, and he was like, "What you take me out for?" We're like, "You're on one knee." He's like, "That's just how I do it. That's just how I do it." So in between every play, he'd be down there on a knee because he was ready to go. It looked like he was tired, but you're just like him out. Yeah, just like him out. Yeah. So like I said, his speed and athleticism were hard to block for opposing offenses, and that he never gave up. He gave 100% on every single play. He got a chance to run the ball a few times, and I think we would all agree that Drayden runs the ball just as hard as he plays defense. When he gets the ball in offense, and he got a chance to play running back there in quite a few games, he ran the ball hard. He wasn't just, hey, I'm getting a chance to get a couple carries. He was like, I want to score, and he ran the ball extremely hard. Drayden was also recognized for 2 separate awards. First, he was recognized by the league as All-League SEC White First Team Defense. And Drayden was also voted on by his teammates as our defensive MVP. All right, next speaker is the bus driver, as he's finally known by. I know he's not going to want me to mention this, but also in the SEC awards, we also have SEC White Coach of the Year, Greg Gold.
You're fired, Hawkins.
Not the first time or the last time.
I just to speak about that real quick, I texted those guys the other night, and my wife and I get into this all the time about the Facebook posts and, the stuff like that. You have to have a lot of good chefs in the kitchen with you in order to make a good meal. And without the staff, I challenge anybody to find a coach. One coach who's coached as a head coach for 30 years and coached in college to accept the role as a special teams coordinator. And then not only to do that, but to put so much passion into it. And it turns out we have 3 kick returns this year. Our special teams was night and day from where it was last year. Won us some games, kept us in games. Then you take another guy who's coached 45 years. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's coached all over the place and been successful, and he comes on board. And you get another guy, a real fiery young man who comes over from college. Hey, stand up real quick. So this dude eats more crap than I've ever met any human. It's like his body is like a study for biology of what, it works in opposite. So like the more he eats, the more weight he loses. But the knowledge he brings, and then just all the guys that we have on our staff, I mean, it has very little to do with me. And we don't win games if we don't have guys like that. And we don't win games if I know Lou said this all the time. Show me a successful season, I'll show you a successful senior group. And there's no question, so that's why we were successful. So, that award has very little to do with me, and I appreciate it, Huck, but the real winners on this team are our staff and our seniors. So appreciate that for bringing that up, Huck. Okay, my crew. First person I have to talk about is a young freshman, Declan Cornish. Declan's got a bright future ahead of him. We finally got him talked into playing football. I've been working on this young man for a long time to get him away from soccer. He could probably be an all-league soccer player if he wanted to play soccer. Super athletic. Coach Romano is bent. He is going to make you the best kicker in the SEC. And I know that you have the ability to do that because we need a weapon, and you have the potential to do that. So weight room, classroom, weight room, weight room, weight room, weight room. Brendan Baddick. I keep calling him Benny Hahn. He's like, why do you keep calling me Benny Hahn? I'm like, you know, Benny Hahn. He's like, oh, okay, I get it now. But this kid is the epitome of always us. He, like Huck said, got hurt, had to step away, cannot play football ever again. But it is as important to this program as any one of these guys, any coach, any kid in the program. He keeps it light. He keeps the spirit up. He's the guy in the locker room who's always hitting people on the shoulder. Let's go. I don't ever want you not to be here. And you can always stay here as long as you want. I know that you're going to have a bright future post high school, but you are always a part of this, what we have going on. And I'm super grateful that you're here, buddy. So thank you. Caleb Johnson. Caleb was a young man that came up to us last year and said, hey, I think I'm going to give this football thing a try. And so we said, come on board. And so he worked super hard in the summer in the weight room, started practicing, was getting better, and then all of a sudden gets bit by the injury bug. And that's the unfortunate thing to see as a coach, is when you see a guy starting to get better, starting to get stronger, then something happens where you get bit by an injury bug. But we're excited to see him in the off season, continue to lift, continue to get better. We're excited to see you next fall. D-Man, come on up, Derek, where you at? I know that Coach Bear was talking about a kid that doesn't talk, but I don't think this kid talks either. Sometimes I say, how you doing? Fine. You know, but again, one of the most likable kids on the team. If you notice, his buddies really rally around him. Another guy who got bit by the injury bug this year, he's been dealing with some shoulder situations for the last couple of years, but we think has a high potential. We're super excited to see what happens in the weight room. We got to get him healthy. We got to get him stronger. But just a lot of potential out of this young man, and I'm excited to see it and work with you next year. Carmelo LeBron. So Carmelo transferred in this year from LCS. Actually lives in the district, but he transferred into LCS. He played football last year on their state championship team. As a result, has been eligible to play for us. He has to sit out for a year. But that did not stop him from coming on to practice. He came every single day, practiced every single day, and this was the one kid on the team that knew there was no shot for him to play, no matter what, every Friday, and never stopped coming. He never not hopped in any scout teams. He's an us guy, and he is very humble. He's a very hard worker, and I'm very excited to see where he goes next year, because he's gonna get some playing time. This is a young man that you're gonna see next year on Friday nights, making some plays. And he was also voted, by his peers, which I think is an outstanding award, especially as a young guy coming in, a new guy, for your peers to think of you this way. But you are the Scout Team Player of the Year. Congratulations. Zach Holmes. My favorite position in the world to coach is kickers. They're dyslexic like me. If I tell them to go right, they go left. And the coaches know that I am that way. I don't know what it is, but honestly, to get Zach to come out this year, we were talking about a little bit last year, and I'm always trying to find somebody in school to fill a role somewhere along the line. When we lost our kicker last year, I knew we had to replace another guy. We always go to the soccer coach and say, hey, is there a guy out there? And it's a challenge for us for a young man like Zach to do that, because he's managing two sports at once. And he's managing his soccer team and his commitments to that team, and then he's also managing his commitments to us as well. But he always came to practice, ready to go. Great competitor, always trying to work harder to get better at his craft. I wish that I could have got him last year, but I'm fortunate that we got him this year. Super grateful for him and what he's done this year. I hope you had a great time with us in the football program. I'm excited to see where you go in the future, and just know that anything you ever need from me, I'm here for you, buddy. Zach Holmes. Vera, come on up. So some backstory to this, last year, in this case, who's a staff member in our building, continued to say, Greg, I think you need a kicker next year. And I said, I know I need a kicker next year. So she said, well, have you talked to Vera? And I was like, no, I have not. Why would I talk to Vera? And she's like, well, she can kick the soccer ball, someone. I'm like, really? So we started to talk, and it was, just in passing, hey, can't wait for you to play football next year. And she's like, whatever, dude, just kept walking by me. But then she started to say, I think I might do this, coach. And then she started to show up in the weight room, and then she started to grind in the weight room, and then she started to get better. And who will tell you, one of the hardest working kids on our team. Always tried to do whatever she could to help the team win. And Vera was always putting the team before herself. And I want to personally take this time to apologize. I wish if I had Friday over again, I would have got you in the game somehow, some way. And when I was on the bus ride home, that was the one thing that hit me, was that you didn't get an opportunity to be out there. So please, I apologize for that. If I had to do it over again, I would have had you out there so you could tackle somebody that one last time. But I just want to say thank you, Vera. Vera, I hope, has changed the perception for girls in our building, that you can go out and do things that boys can do, and you do it at a high level, and you do it with grace, and you do it with dignity. You're such a high character kid. You're going to be one of the kids that I miss for a very long time. And please know, whenever you need me, I'm here for you. So congratulations, Vera, and thank you for what you did for us. So lastly, I just want to real quick take a second to recognize the all-league players again. So just stand real quick, just recognize one more time. So these are the all-league SC. And so when you win the league, you get 8 nominations on both sides of the ball. And then what happens in the process is the coaches go through and they start to vote on how's it going to go. And when you get 8 guys up there, you can't have all league guys. And so it was, Ryan will tell you, we were both there that night. It was a challenge to get the guys that we wanted, but we did a good job of getting them. So all league O, Jared Alcock, please stand. Riders AJ Bryan, Jake Burns, Max Bledsoe, all league SEC offense. So Gavin and Joe were the only two guys to be able to make it on both sides of the ball. Gavin was all league honorable mention on offense, so was Joe, but they were also all league on defense as well. And Gavin, I think, finished the year with 6 interceptions, which I think ties the school record. And Joe was fantastic. So guys, both of you guys, please stand up. Also, honorable mention on offense was Robert Adams and Ashton Platt. Go ahead, guys. When you account for over 5,000 yards of total offense, a lot is to do with the offensive line. So just credit to Matt Hession and Ray Torres and this group for getting it done for these guys. All league defense, please stand up. Draven Langston, Trace Tiswell, Joe Ben Scooter, Gavin Shenemy. And then DBU did have a good year. Kyle Kilbogger, Graham Mossberg, and Tyler Clement. Please stand up. You guys are all way down. And Ryan Perry as well. Ryan, where you at? The all-county teams will come out sometime next week. I think the 22nd or 23rd is when they'll get released. So the last 2 awards I have are kind of program awards that we feel are very important awards to us. One is the Coach Ray Schmidt Award. This award every year goes to the senior who has an example as an exemplary student athlete. This award reflects the player's dedication to academics, displays a high moral standard, and illustrates strong leadership qualities. This award is a reflection of all the principles Coach Schmidt taught during his tenure here at Tecumseh, and this award honors the high standards of a student athlete in our football program. The winner for the annual Coach Ray Schmidt Award this year is senior Kyle Kilbogger. Kyle is currently ranked 3rd in his class with a GPA of 4.08. So congratulations, Kyle. Yeah, this one's been a struggle too. One of the missions of our staff is to bridge the history of our program to present players. The Pat Connors Award honors the player who exemplifies the quality that Coach Connors looked for and thought, and that we will always look for in an Indian football player. A player who put himself in front of his team over his own personal interests and will be a great teammate, be tough, be hard-nosed, and will always give a great effort in everything that is asked of him. This award reflects a leader who cares only about his brothers, works with a positive spirit, and loves the game of football. It's one of the toughest damn kids I've ever coached in my entire life. The fiercest competitor I've ever met. One of the most humble kids, except for when he's running his mouth to me, which is often, but we got to a good spot in that. I hope that every single young player in this program watches how Jake Burns does it. And there's a lot of people in this room who are great kids, fantastic seniors. Some of the best senior class I've ever had in my entire 20 years of coaching. But Al's great, Jake's the glue. The 5th award winner of the Coach Pat Connors Award and 2-time winner for this award, senior Jake Burns. So I'm fortunate that I get to say to these guys, I'll see you on Monday. But some of these guys, the coaches, they don't. And then after this, they might not get to see him again like I get to see him every day. And that's one of the blessings of being a staff member in this building, is that I get to see these guys every single day. Because I after the game on Friday, I just can't believe that we're not going to have our young kids out here. I mean, these kids were like our babies to us. We brought them up as sophomores. Almost all these guys played with us from the very beginning, and I've known them since they were in 7th and 8th grade. And so it's a tough situation to see them to see them go and then to not be on the practice field or competing with them anymore. But please know that the staff and I will always be here for you if you need it. You made history this year. Team 2022 will go down as one of the great teams, and I've told you guys this before, and I've said it to everybody. You have cemented yourself in this town as a legacy team. You will be talked about the same way that they talk about the 58 team, the 72 team, and the 91 team, and now they're gonna say Team 2022 is in that, and you're not gonna really realize that until you come back here, 15 years, when Mr. Zajac brings us all back, at homecoming at some point in time. That's a joke, right? We're gonna be here in 15 years now? No. But you guys will realize it then. So, to Team 2023, show up and do the work. Do the work necessary to continue to compete for the championships. It must be your focus every day. Everything matters. Everything that you do matters. The way we behave in school, the way we behave in the classroom, what we do in the work, in the weight room, the way we show up to meetings, it's all connected. And I think if you look at this group right here, it's an illustration for when you show up and do the work, good things are gonna happen. So, with that, I will say to you guys, I'll see you Monday in the classroom, not on the practice field. We are going to turn in gear this week. Freshmen and sophomores, you guys will turn in gear, Wednesday during seminar. Juniors and seniors, you guys will turn it in on Thursday during seminar. So make sure it doesn't even have to be clean, you can just turn it in to me. We're gonna take it to the laundromat. And is the Willis family here? Is your mom? Where's that at?
There it is, over here.
The Williams family. Thank you to you guys for all that you've done with us this year too, helping us out with the uniforms and everything. It's a big help, and we're super grateful for it. So thank you guys. So bring your stuff Wednesday, freshmen and sophomores, juniors and seniors. Bring it on Thursday. Just thank you. I think that this will be a season that all of us will talk about and remember and be grateful for a very long time. To the senior families, thank you guys. I mean, honestly, just a really great group of people who have raised exceptional young adults. And I just can't thank you guys enough. So I hope you guys had a great time. We know we did. And so with that, thank you guys for coming.
Love you very much, and they're super proud of you. Your parents are as well. And so the senior gift this year is that you get to take your black jerseys that are in front of you home. We also have shadow boxes for you to put your jerseys in, to have those as a memory. Also, we had talked with Coach Dolson, it would be nice if this group can get together. You come to my house and sign your jerseys. We can hang out and have pizza, but that way you can have them, stored forever. So we really appreciate you guys. You were so much fun to watch. So many people in the community have said what a special, wonderful group of players we have here, and they're really, really proud of you guys. So I have 6 shadow boxes that can go home tonight with 6, but the others will be coming. So we just want to thank you. Also, if I could have this group right here, you're closest, would you go over to? Oh, and.
No, these two.
Oh, these two, okay. Coaches, we have something for you too. Coach Dolson had said that he didn't want a coach's gift this year, and none of his coaches really wanted anything. They were really appreciative, and they love everything that we do for them. So we did something small but special, and we love our coaches, and we're very thankful for all of you. I know I'm not just talking for myself, but I've enjoyed watching you, mentor our young men and love them and care for them. So thank you very much, and I'm gonna miss you guys.
So if you want to stay and get pictures, feel free to do so, but thank you guys, thank you for everything you've done this year, and we'll see you next year.